Hey subbies, we're going to be doing a library haul. I go to the library about once a week and I love to be able to share the books that I get from the library that I'm do as my library hauls and then as book reviews here on my YouTube channel and on my Instagram. Before we get into the video, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell to turn on your post notifications so you don't miss out on any of my amazing, fun, wonderful videos that I share with each and every one of you. I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I don't want you to miss them. Let's get into this library haul. The first book I have is Riley Sager, Home Before Dark. 25 years ago, Maggie Holt and her parents moved to Banbury Hall, a rambling Victorian estate in Vermont. They spent 3 weeks there before fleeing in the dead of night, an ordeal her father later recounted in a nonfiction book, House of Horrors. They became a worldwide phenomenon. When Maggie inherits the estate after her father's death, she plans to renovate and sell it. She doesn't remember the encounters with malevolent spirits mentioned in her father's book, and she's a skeptic. But as Maggie experiences strange occurrences in Banbury Hall straight out of her father's book, she starts to believe that what he wrote was more fact than fiction. The last book of Riley Sager's that I read was Home Before Dark, and it was absolutely exquisite. I'm excited to read his newest novel, and as I am with any author, any and everything that they write. The next book we have is Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. I'm very excited to read this book because I had seen it mentioned on Asha Zapp's channel, and she is a wonderful bookworm as well, but she also does lifestyle vlogs as well as some workout videos, and she shares a lot of self-care and some tag videos as well. She's done some videos with her boyfriend Chase. And I'm really excited to read this book because she reads a lot of amazing books that are similar in interest to my own. Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. Ellie Mack was 15, beloved by her parents, friends, and teachers, and then she was gone. Now it's been 10 years since Laurel Mack's daughter disappeared, 7 years since her marriage ended, and only months since the last clue in Ellie's case was unearthed. When she meets a charming man, no one is more surprised than Laurel at how quickly their flirtation develops into something deeper. Before she knows it, she's meeting Floyd's daughters, and his youngest, Poppy, takes Laurel's breath away, because looking at Poppy is like looking at Ellie. And now the unanswered questions she's tried so hard to put to rest begin to haunt Laurel anew. Where did Ellie go? This here is Joe Hill, Heart-Shaped Box, and if this author sounds familiar to you, it is because Joe Hill is the son of Stephen King, but he writes under this name Joe Hill instead of it being Joe King, so he can establish himself as an author, and his books are just as amazing, just as spooky as his father's. I love how when a family is a group of writers, they write some truly terrific novels that you can't wait to read everything that this family writes, which is the case with Joe Hill's books. Aging death metal rock legend Judas Coyne is a collector of the macabre, a cookbook for cannibals, a used hangman's noose, a snuff film, but something he possesses is as unique or as dreadful as his latest purchase off the internet. A one-of-a-kind curiosity that arrives in his door in a black heart-shaped box. A musty dead man's suit still inhabited by the spirit of its late owner. And now everywhere Judas Coyne goes, the old man is there, watching, waiting, dangling a razor blade on a chain from his bony hand. Midnight Sun. The book is by Stephanie Meyer, and this is the 5th book in the Twilight Saga, but the 6th book if you count the novella, The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner. I've been really excited to read this book because I have been waiting, because there was a hold list of at least 500 people waiting for this book as well. I could see how easy it would be to fall in love with Bella. It would be exactly like falling, effortless. Not letting myself love her was the opposite of falling. It was pulling myself up a cliff face hand over hand. The task is grueling, as I had no more than moral strength. When Edward and Bella Swan met in the Twilight series, an iconic love story was born. But until now, fans have only heard Bella's side of the story. At last, readers can experience Edward's version in the long-awaited companion novel Midnight Sun. The unforgettable tale, as told through Edward's eyes, takes on a new and decidedly dark twist. Meeting Bella is both the unnerving and intriguing event he had experienced in all his years as a vampire. As we learn more fascinating details about Edward's past and the complexity of his inner thoughts, we understand why this is the defining struggle of his life, how he can justify following his heart if it means leading Bella into danger. I am extremely excited to read this book because I haven't read any of the books since the end of the Twilight series with Breaking Dawn. I am extremely excited to read this book, and I'm even more excited to be able to share my reviews on my Instagram and on my YouTube channel. Have You Seen Me? By Kate White. On a rainy morning, Ellie Linden arrives soaked to the bone at her Manhattan office, only to find out that she can't get in. When her boss shows, he's confused, explaining that she hasn't worked there in 5 years. Ellie only recalls her name, but after a trip to the psychiatric ER, she remembers that she's now a freelance journalist and married to a terrific man named Hugh. Even as more memories materialize, she can't summon anything about the previous 2 days, a fog diagnosed as a dissociative state. Could she have witnessed an accident? Or worse, had something happened to her? Desperate for answers, Ellie tries to reconstruct the missing days, but every detail she unearths points to an explanation that's increasingly ominous. In order to uncover the truth, Ellie must dig deep into the past and outsmart the person who seems determined to silence her. Playing Nice by J.P. Delaney. Pete Riley answers the door one morning and lets in a parent's worst nightmare. On his doorstep is Miles Lambert, a stranger who breaks the devastating news that Pete's son Theo isn't actually his son. He is the Lamberts, switched at birth by an understaffed hospital, while their real son, who was sent home with Miles and his wife Lucy. For Pete and his partner Maddie and the little boy they've been raising for the past 2 years, life will never be the same again. How far would you go to protect them? The two families, reeling from the shock, take discomfort in shared good intentions, eagerly entwining their very different lives in the hope of becoming one unconventional modern family. But a plan to sue the hospital triggers an official investigation that unearths some disturbing questions about the night their children were switched. How much can they trust the other parents, or even each other? What secrets are hidden behind the Lamberts' glossy front door? Stretched to the breaking point, Pete and Maddie discover that they will stop at nothing to keep their family safe. They are done playing nice. Don't Look for Me by Wendy Walker. One night, Molly Clark walked away from her life. The car abandoned miles from home. The note found at a nearby hotel. The shattered family that couldn't be put back together. It happens all the time. Women disappear, desperate to leave their lives behind and start over. She doesn't want to be found, or at least that's the story. But is that what really happened to Molly Clark? The night Molly disappeared began with a storm, running out of gas, and a man at a truck stop offering her a ride into town. With him is a little girl who reminds her of the daughter she lost years ago. It feels like a sign. And Molly is overcome with the desire to be home with her family, no matter how broken it is. She accepts the ride, but when the doors are locked shut, Molly begins to suspect she has made a terrible mistake. When a new lead comes in after the search is ended, Molly's daughter Nicole begins to wonder. Nothing about her mother's disappearance makes sense. Nicole returns to the small, desolate town where her mother was last seen to find the truth. The locals are kind and eager to help, the innkeeper, the bartender, even the police, until secrets begin to reveal themselves and she comes closer to the truth about the night and the danger surrounding her. The Perfect Father, the true story of Chris Watts' all-American family and a shocking murder, by John Glatt. In the early morning hours of August 13th, 2018, Shannon Watts was dropped off at home by a colleague after returning from a business trip. It was the last time anyone would see her alive. By the next day, Shannon and her two young daughters, Bella and Celeste, had been reported missing, and her husband, Chris Watts, was appearing on the local news pleading for his family's safe return. But Chris Watts already knew that he would never see his family again. Less than 24 hours after his desperate plea, Watts made a shocking confession to the police. He had strangled his pregnant wife to death and smothered their daughters, dumping their bodies in a nearby oil site. Heartbroken friends and neighbors watched in shock as the movie star, handsome, devoted family man they knew was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The mask Chris had presented to the world in his TV interviews and the family Facebook accounts was slipping, and what lay beneath was a horrifying image of instability, infidelity, and boiling rage. In this first major account of the case, best-selling author and journalist John Glatt reveals the truth behind the tragedy and constructs a chilling portrait of one of the most shocking family annihilator cases of the 21st century. The last book that I have is The Return by Nicholas Sparks. Trevor Benson never intended to move back to New Bern, North Carolina, but when a mortar blast outside the hospital where he worked sent him home from Afghanistan with devastating injuries, the dilapidated cabin he inherited from his grandfather seemed as good a place as any to regroup. Tending to his grandfather's beloved beehives, Trevor isn't prepared to fall in love with a local, yet from their very first encounter, Trevor feels the connection with his deputy sheriff, Natalie Masterson, that he can't ignore. But even as she seems to reciprocate his feelings, she remains frustratingly distant, making Trevor wonder what she's hiding. Further complicating his stay in New Bern is the presence of a sullen teenage girl, Callie, who lives in the trailer park down the road. Trevor hopes Callie can shed some light on the mysterious circumstances of his grandfather's death, but she offers few clues until a crisis triggers a race to uncover the true nature of Callie's past, one more entwined with the elderly man's passing than Trevor could have ever imagined. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite books are that you've checked out from the library or that you've bought from bookstores. I'd love to know. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and click the notification bell to turn on your post notifications so you don't miss out on any of my amazing, fun, wonderful videos that I share with each and every one of you. I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I don't want you to miss them. I love sharing library hauls, grocery store hauls, book reviews, advice videos. I can't wait to share so many more videos with you on my YouTube channel, and I really don't want you to miss them. Also, make sure that you're following me on my social media. My Instagram is Comedy Creation. I love to share library hauls, book reviews, beautiful breakfasts, lovely lunches, and delicious dinners, and I don't want you to miss them, so be sure that you're following me, as well as follow me on my Twitter. My Twitter is Comedy Addict. I love to play hashtag games and being able to be as creative as humanly possible because I love how expressive you can be when writing, and Twitter is the place to do that. So make sure you're following me. I can't wait to see you in the next video, subbies. Until then, sensational smiles go for miles. Be sure to subscribe and stay a while. See you in my next video. Bye, subbies.